At a time when the therapeutic pharmaceutical industry around the world is at its highest levels in the face of the most dangerous and fiercest diseases and deadly and fatal epidemics. Dr. Outstanding and ambitious Ozapropan is empowering a team of experts and doctors in their own project, which aims to find a cure to slow down aging. She and her team succeed in attracting a large number of the world's rich and wealthy people, who, of course, want and dream of being as young as they were. One night, the night's Mia, the wife of the owner of this medical company and institution, whose name is Thomas, decided that she would make him a surprise, and they would spend a nice, happy, and enjoyable night together. But he would be exhausted and very tired and would stay asleep. As we see it, Mia would get upset and fight, put on her clothes, get up from his side, and find Thomas at Thomas' computer. A message from Dr. Isabel Thomas, and when she opens it, it is a picture of a girl's burned arm, and there is no number on it, so it means 14,000. The next day, Thomas sees a meeting and interview conducted with Dr. Isabel, in which she talks about the project and treatment they are working on now, and through which they will be able to return the elderly to their youth once again. Although the presenter of the program was asking her very difficult questions, we noticed that Isabel was completely calm and answered all his questions with confidence and told him that aging is a disease like any other disease that humanity suffers from, and that is why it deserves to be found a suitable treatment for it. We confront him, and I am confident that we will be able to completely eliminate aging and old age. After Thomas sees the meeting and the entire interview, he directly calls any woman and talks to her. At the same time, Mia appears to us, watching Thomas, and she's practicing running like every day, and suddenly and unintentionally, she stumbles upon a woman named Nicole. We learn that she works as a nanny for this little child, who is the son of her neighbor, Mia, and Thomas. Mia apologizes to her, and Nicole tells her that there is no need to apologize. Good has happened, and after some talking and chatting with each other, Isabel arrives and thanks her, and then compliments on the beauty of the little child and the beauty of his hair. She also tells Nicole that your hair is very beautiful, and she is in love. She looks like this in a malicious way with her ring, and she is able to take a few locks from it like that. After that, Mia takes Isabel home, and Thomas meets Isabel and tells her that the project they are currently working on should remain a secret and that she should not talk about it in the media or the media to anyone, meaning it is not at least available. They have the necessary money and the overall cost of the project, and Isabel tells him, but we must have the lead and leadership in this project. Fados explains to her that the first phase of their project has not yet been completed, and even progress in it is very slow. At this time, Asbel shows him a picture of one of their clients, whose name is Peter, and it is clear, in fact, he is much younger than his first appearance before he tried the serum, and the effect on him. Fados is surprised, and Isabel tells him that the rich are not interested in policies or laws, even as long as they achieve their goal, and Thomas tells her, but the important thing is that I don't want you to do anything without getting back to me. So she responds to him and tells him, of course I will do this, and she will go and tell her that you are very beautiful. Mia will say to her that it's best that you say that to Thomas so that he does not care about me at all. Isabel tells her about some things that she does to make her appear more and more beautiful in his eyes and attract him to her. And in fact, at night Mia changes a little. He dresses her and does her hair as Isabel advised her. and we see that Thomas really likes her very much. But he also stays away from her, and she is in shock and does not know why he is staying away from her. Here she goes out and she is very angry. At this time, Nicole is returning home and suddenly a man knocks on her and she continues on her way, but after a few steps, just then she falls on the ground and he sings on it, and we see a car like that standing next to it, and men get out of it and remove it and get into the car and move around with it, and in the middle of the track they heat an iron skewer with fire, and after some time passes, the two men who kidnapped Nicole get out of the car when they encounter a roadblock, and at this time we see Nicole, she woke up and regained consciousness, so she opened the door of the car and got out of it and used this, and the two men were not aware of it, and they returned to their car and walked at length. And the second day in the morning, Asbel met with a new client named John, and he still wanted to reduce his age, so Asbel asked him to sign an agreement, and this agreement, she stipulates that he will not talk at all about this project of theirs to anyone, and he actually signs, even though he is hesitant at first. After that, Isabel shows him pictures and files of the clients who worked with them before, and she also shows him the excellent and very impressive results they obtained, so that she can reassure him it is true that their treatment is effective, and after that she tells him about the necessary amount and costs which he must pay via encrypted currencies, and here they begin to do the medical tests and examinations at first, and when Thomas and Mia are together in the house, suddenly Nicole flops on the door, all blood, and she is very afraid and terrified, and they open the door for her and they enter through the house, and here Thomas glances at Nicole's arm, tattooing the number D17 with fire, and Mia tells him to bring a towel quickly, so he actually goes upstairs and calls someone on the phone, while Mia looks at her and then goes down with the towel for them and tells them that I will take Nicole to the nearest hospital to check on her, and he actually takes her and they walk from here. Time passes until the night comes and Thomas does not return home and does not even answer Maya's calls. Why is Maya worried about him and starts calling the hospitals near them and learns that Nicole has not arrived at any of them? At this time, Thomas appears to us in his car in this place and stays with Nicole, and we see one of the men who kidnapped Nicole last night opens the door of the car and pulls out and believes Thomas when he sees this man doing this to her, but he does not do anything to stop him or even stop him, and Maya remains very worried about Thomas, and she does not know where he took Nicole, and they disappeared, so she opened his computer to she tracks his location through his phone, and suddenly she receives a message on her phone from Thomas, who reassures her and tells her that Nicole has been admitted to the hospital, and when she sees and learns the location he is currently in through his phone location, she knows that something is happening that she does not know, and that he is lying to her, and she immediately takes the keys to her car, and it appears that it is her. Why do you go to the place he is currently in? At this time, Thomas enters the building and meets with Isabel. He asks about the person who pulled and dragged Nicole from his car, and Isabel tells him that they work with me, and we know that one of them is called Caldo and the other is named Jack, and Thomas says, here I was thinking that the women and girls on whom our treatment tests are performed are the ones who volunteered on their own. It is not you who snatches a man's mouth and responds to him and tells him that it is impossible. Of course, any woman agrees to volunteer to have a new treatment tried on her and tells him, but I don't want you to worry about it. because it is very soon that all of this will end. Sure, we will reach the one we want, and she shows him a picture of a girl named Ally. Thomas becomes afraid, anxious, and very nervous and gets up to walk from here. His wife Mia also arrives at this place and enters very carefully inside and continues to walk around the place for a while, until, in the end, the wooden floor beneath it breaks and falls. She went down, but nothing happened to her, so she got up and continued searching and discovering the place around her until she found the nutritional supplements that she produces and sells a company to her husband, Thomas. Suddenly, she hears the sound of a woman crying and screaming, so she starts to walk behind this sound. And a woman is making peace on a table, and it is difficult to find electricity without any mercy at all. Jack appears behind Maya and she succeeds in resisting him and running away and quickly running in front of him, but he notices that she squeezes her leg and falls hard on the ground, but suddenly, very quickly, she stands up for a second, but he is stubborn behind her and hits her, and she falls the second time, and she completely loses consciousness. Thomas returns home and Bella is at his computer. It is open in this way, and he knows that Mia knew his location by tracking his phone. So the house that she tells him informs that Meyer is really there and quickly goes away and comes back again, and at this time they are getting older. She takes off her clothes and Kahlo picks up his shoulder and puts adhesive tape on her mouth and also draws blood from the eye. Her arm and Jack are heating up a metal skewer as we see it, and they tattoo him on her arm with the number E34, and Thomas finally arrives at the place to meet his wife, and in his face they meet the one who was not willing to let him in, but if she calls hard and lets him let Thomas in, and he sees Mia for 5 minutes, and Thomas really did. They meet and she can't stand it until she looks at his face after she finds out the truth about his job, and Thomas warns Mia that she is trying to escape from here, otherwise they might kill them and get rid of them right away, and she tells her that he will get out of here, and then he leaves her and walks away, and she is completely collapsed and shocked at it, and Isabel meets with Thomas. She prepares for him to interfere in her work or for him to try to do something to get me out of here. She also takes his phone from him and tells him that it is strictly forbidden for you to leave the place and you will stay here. Suddenly, the alarm goes off in the place and Nicole appears to us as she is running and trying to escape from this cursed place and arrive at the room where Meyer is. She is trapped in it and continues to scream and ask for help. Jack appears behind her and hits her on the head forcefully with an iron in his hand. He also kills her instantly. As for Mia, she remains extremely terrified and afraid of what she sees happening in front of her. After that, the old man John meets them and he is very excited about the treatment and wants to begin the treatment. There is the day before tomorrow, and she receives John's eagerness to start treatment and raises the price to 50 more, and he agrees without discussion, even with her, and in the scene after that, we see Isabel continuing her work, research, and project on one of the women, and Cal is helping her, and Isabel is preparing that he does not think about harassing anyone from the women here, especially Mia Mara Thomas. At this time, Thomas is amused by the room in which Maya and Bing are. He opens her door and enters and takes her in his arms. Maya thinks of the picture she saw on Thomas' computer of the girl's arm that had the number 14,000 tattooed on her. She then asks Thomas about it, and Thomas confesses. She tells her that this girl's name is Ellie, and he tells her that he met her 6 months ago at a party where he and Isabel were attending. We also learn that she is still the same girl who was tied to the bed and they were electrocuted, and he tells her that it is the first time he has seen her. Here, an hour ago, Isabel and I kissed her at the party, and I didn't know it. All Isabel does is this, and after that, he leaves her and walks away and comes back to his room again, carrying the worries of the whole world on his head, and he does not know what to do, or even how to behave. At this time, Isabel calls Thomas and shows him all the new needs and equipment that they have added to their organization, such as this device, for example. It remains an animal cell through which they can sleep any embryo. If they buy an ovary from abroad, we can take the DNA of any of our clients and tell her, I will consider that if you succeed in this, will you be able to live to be 180 years old if I leave her? I am sure of this, but the only problem is, I can't find a DNA match with mine at all, and you keep talking to him and trying to influence him so that he completes what they started together. And Thomas goes and brings a woman that Mia saw from the room they have here, and he tells them that I am the one who will finish her off because Mia knows everything about us, but he is holding a knife like that. He cuts the rope she is tied to, and she runs away quickly, but the rest of them see him and know that he wants to escape her from here, and they want to prevent her from escaping, and Thomas is distracted by you and goes with them with all strength and courage, until in the end, Jack hits him hard, and Thomas loses consciousness, sings about him, and falls to the ground. As for Caldo, so he goes to chase Maya, arrest her, and bring her back a second time. Maya finds this car and gets into it quickly, but she does not know how to start it without the keys. Her bad luck leads to her being severely ill, and he arrests her a second time. Jack stays in Beirut for Isabel and tells her that he has finally found matching DNA, and in the scene that follows, Maya, she will be unconscious, and when she regains consciousness a second time and succeeds, she will be tied to the operating table, and Isabel will search for any healthy egg in her ovary, and she will actually find the healthy egg she wants and put DNA in it to fertilize this egg with it. After that, they will be taken to her new cell, and she will see other women. They are locked up here, and there are also pregnant women, including Ellie, who is still alive, and I see that she is pregnant, and Meyer is getting tired of one of them named Julie of being pregnant as well, and another one named Helena was in pain and screaming from the intense pain that she felt, and Caldo arrives and says to her, "Why are you screaming inside me?" So she tells him that he studied her. It hurts her, so he has the pliers and he forcefully makes her cry, and she keeps crying and screaming, but he is not satisfied with his hand and brings a stapler, and with his hand he stabs her with her bugs. But what remains is a sniffle, so he goes to her and hits her, but suddenly the pain of childbirth appears, and after a while the child is born. But Isabel takes the child directly. She walks with him, and after that, Mia attacks the dog and he falls to the ground, but she takes a knife from his pocket and uses it forcefully, as we see at him. He strangles her with his back to the cage. So she takes the knife and stabs him in the back, and he falls to the ground, and Mia takes the keys to the cages from his pocket and opens them for them. They go out and want to reach the little boy before they escape from here. So she hugs Caldo and tells him, "You are brave and a hero, and you must finish what you started." As for Thomas, he is looking for Maya, and by coincidence he finds the two of these women, and he burns the keys that he had with him and tells them to open all the cells and free all the women quickly, immediately. At this time, Maya and the rest of the women storm the place on Azab al-Wajah, but Isabel is upset that she kills the child and gets rid of him, and the opportunity ends and she runs away at once, and Jack wants to prevent them from expelling them, so they attack him and beat and break him, and he quickly flees from here. As for I, she will kill you quickly, and Maya is still determined to. He chases Isabel and he attacks Thomas, but Maya is electrocuted and is able to save Thomas at the last moment, and Isabel is still escaping and running to take his DNA sample, but the women arrest her, beat him, take him, and write him down, and they are content as he is, and they are subjected to beatings and torture, and Helena is in a bad mood at however, no one senses that she unties Isabel and asks her to save Caldo quickly, but Isabel knows that she will not be able to defeat all these women, so she decides to stab herself with this screwdriver. And in the end, the police and ambulance forces arrive at the place. And Maya tells us that the police and investigation teams did not know how to reach anything, and this is because there is nothing. There are no records or documents at all for any names of other people involved with Jezebel in this matter, and none of them spoke or said any useful information to the police, so the police would not arrest Thomas as a beautiful response to Maya for what she did to them. And after a while, we see Thomas and Maya together in their house, and we know that Regal loves her and cares for her much more than the first one. Also, God blessed them with a beautiful little girl, and they name her Nicole. Thus, the events of our movie today will end. I hope you have a good time with us. Don't forget to, if you like the video, support us with a like and subscribe, and also activate the bell to receive everything new.